Vancouver. You all know George, right?
How great.
Thank you. Am I on your show now?
You're on my show right now.
Oh my goodness. This is good.
This is fun.
Okay, let me make myself show presentable. Good. Good.
What do you think it is about this that resonates so much?
I think everybody has the same heartbeat, literally. What I said earlier about the center of what really matters to people is, do I matter? That's what really everybody's looking for, is do I matter? And I think that's what we all get. That's why we were #1 for all those years, because people got that.
Do you think we've structured a life that allows us to make the most of
Yeah,
that?
that's right. That's why you're here, George. You know that. You've been with me 3 nights now.
Yes, I know, but most of them haven't.
Okay. No, Marlon, the audio guy, today I was doing sound check and I said, Marlon, and what is it we need most? Our calling? He goes, our purpose. Okay, very good, Marlon. You're paying
They've been
attention.
listening.
Yes.
When I watch you from the outside, it appears like you're on this exploration of humanity. It's something that you've been able to do for a long time. And now when I look at Lance Armstrong, I wondered how you approach people differently. You know, when you know that something is so big on the outside.
I did not want to approach Lance Armstrong with my ego. I really wanted to offer a space, and literally, I pray, and I prayed before doing that interview. I sat in silence before going upstairs to do the interview, and my prayer was that the presence in me would find a way to reach the presence in him, that I would create an open field. That's why I said at the beginning of the interview, it's an open field. I can ask anything I want. I wanted to create an open field so that he would have the space to be truthful if that's what he chose to do, and that I would have no judgment of it. You know, the reason why people were saying that I was going to be soft on him, I never thought I was going to be soft. I thought I was going to be humane.
What do you think the future looks like for Lance now?
I think it's all up to Lance. When something this big happens to you, talk about the tsunami that is. And so it's an opportunity for you to stop and take stock of yourself in a way that you haven't before. That's what the big picture is really all about. The big picture isn't about the bike or the races. Don't you think so? You know, you've asked me that every night. I didn't ask you what you think. What do you think?
About Lance?
Yeah.
I mean, I agree that this is his opportunity. I just think it's so. I'm more focused on how people have reacted to him as if he owed them something. And that I wonder about forgiveness.
People will eventually forgive Lance. I understand the anger. He said he understood the anger. But people will eventually forgive Lance. You know why? Because everybody wants to be forgiven. Because who doesn't mess up in their life? Some people mess up big. That's big. That was tsunami big.
Have you ever been on the verge of something? Not like that. I don't think you've taken performance-enhancing drugs. But have you ever been on the verge? You know,
this would be the time to tell it.
That's right. But if you looked at that moment where you've been on the precipice and said, wow, I have to make a really serious choice here.
Yeah.
About the kind of life I want to have.
Yes.
Even in your later years on the show.
Your instinct can't fail you. Your instinct is not going to lie to you, George.
Can you be pointed in the wrong direction so your instinct...
Well, you are not listening to your instinct.
So then let's use that and talk about the launch of the network, OWN.
Yes.
Listen, I will say this, and I said this the other day, and I stand by this, not just because you're here. A lot of people were saying that OWN didn't work in the beginning, but I thought, those people have never built a network. It's really hard to build a network.
Yeah.
Did you think it would be
still
easier?
Is. Yes. I was delusional. That's a good quote for the Herald tomorrow, isn't it? Stedman says this to me all the time. He goes, you thought it was going to be the way it always was. You didn't recognize that you were starting a new business. I literally was thinking, I'm going to go and I'm going to start this network, and then I'll go and visit every week or so, and I'll check in to make sure that the shows are coming along. I was delusional. I had built this team of the Oprah show. Strong, we are a machine. And so I had forgotten what it took to build that machine. So the mistake was the very first day that I was approached to do this network, the voice inside me said, maybe you should wait. That is the truth. And I didn't wait because there were so many other voices saying, but now you should do it. You should do it while you can leverage what you have with where you're going, leverage. And that was the big mistake.
You have a clear reason in your head as to why you stopped the show?
I didn't want to be punch drunk. I didn't want to be in the ring while other people were punching me out. I felt that show, with all that it's meant to you all and all that it meant to me, it deserved to go out when it was on top and not when I was, trying to hold on to the ratings. It deserved to have that moment for what it has meant in the culture. Because I raised most of y'all in here. I know I raised you. Their mothers were watching. They came home from school. Their mothers were watching. They watched with their mothers. And now they have children. So when the children that were been watching started to have children, I thought, time to go.
You're cool with aging, and you've talked about you embrace your age, but when you put it in that context, do you ever have these moments where you're like, wow, this has been a hell of a life, but it's moving on?
Thanks, George.
You said you were okay with it.
I think you deny your own self and your own spirit when you try to lower your age. Because look at all the people that didn't make it. Look at all the people. I think about this all the time with 9/11. I think about all of the people in those buildings who were 23 and 27 and 47 and 56 and 80 and 72 and 69 and 59. And I think about all the people who just didn't make it. For every birthday, I say a little prayer for all the people who thought they were going to make it to that age. So I think to not claim your age is to dishonor the years.
You now have kids living in your house.
Yes.
And aside from the noisy part of it, what's it like for you to, it's not just playing the mother role in a disconnected way, it's very much, there's a real leadership role that happens in your house now. How is that for you?
It feels really good. Actually, Stedman is a teacher. He is in education. He goes around the country doing lectures in education. So we literally, over the holidays, had a whole, took everything out of the living room, and he's, literally teaching classes about vision and how they can, not just about going to college, but what are you going to do when you get out of college. So what has happened is that I suddenly have been thrust into this role of mothering in a way that I never expected. God bless everybody who has done it and has done it well. But I remember all the things I've learned from the Oprah show, like, I cannot, these girls are 17 and 18 years old now, so I'm not going to be their manager of their lives. I'm their consultant. I feel really blessed at this time in my life to be able to have that as a part of my life now. They've added to my life.
Did you think you were going to have this opportunity?
Well, I never worried about it. I knew that I wasn't the kind of mother that you all could be. I knew that. I knew that little babies, little toddler children, crying, you can't speak English yet, not being able to tell me what you want. You can't tell me what you want? You need to get out of my house. I knew that I didn't have that instinct. I don't have the thing. I see you all doing it all the time. Yes, no, time out, no. Tell mommy. I knew I didn't have that. So this is a good age for me. This is good. This is working for me.
Before we wrap up, you had alluded to it in your talk, the Beyonce thing and the criticism.
Yeah.
About the anthem being lip-synced.
Oh, I said that.
Yeah,
I don't get that. We're a culture. You all not Canadians. I do not put you all in it. Even looking at television here, television is calmer here in Canada. I don't see a lot of the nastiness that I see on some of the TV shows, but we just like to complain about things, and we love to, when somebody does something, particularly when people are on top. And this is the truth. if it happens to people who are, quote, celebrities or being celebrated or of fame, and for me, my definition of fame is the only difference between being famous and not is more people know your name. Because as y'all can see, I'm just like you, except you know my name. I don't know yours. But it's the same, you know, feelings are the same. And so if you want to pull somebody down, oh, they made a mistake, or she lip-synced the song, it was her voice. I could see if she was using Mary J. Blige's voice. Alicia Keys' voice, it was her voice. Why is everybody upset about that?
There's like this anonymous wall of aggression that exists in social networking too now. There's this kind of, we are sort of in an attack culture, or at least there's more of it.
I love the way you phrase things, anonymous wall of aggression.
It's out there though, right?
That's really good. I would have just said, you know, people pissing each other off, but otherwise, that's great. This anonymous wall of aggression, very well said. I like it.
You can use it.
Okay.
It's yours.
I just want to say, thank you, Vancouver. Thank you.
Oprah Winfrey, everybody.
Thank you.
You've all seen part of the conversation we've had with Oprah. It was one of 3 nights that we did. We opened in Edmonton, closed in Vancouver. The middle show was the one in Calgary at the Saddledome. And there was a lot of stuff that we talked about in that particular program. Funny thing about Oprah is that it's not just that Oprah is a celebrity. Oprah's celebrity is quite often tied to the things she gives you for your life. It's all about living a better life and connecting you to important issues. People want to know what she thinks about big things. And in this conversation, trust me, the Tragically Hip comes up, and you know the shootings at Sandy Hook. Like, there's a lot of stuff we covered with Oprah, and here's more of it.
Oh my goodness, George in the hot seat.
Hello, Oprah.
Okay, help me up. Great. George, thank you.
You got it.
Can I take my shoes off?
You sure can.
Good God. All right. Is it hard to interview me after I've done all that? Because it's hard. I mean, really, you're doing really well.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. I will say this, though.
What?
Yesterday, I had an idea of what I wanted to talk about with you, and then you did it all in your class. And as I walked on stage, I went, oh, my God. I'm going to reinvent this right now.
Oh, no, you did a really good job.
Thank you. Thank you. In theory, we should be living in an enlightened time because we have access to information, and there's so much way for people to communicate with each other.
People waste it, though, don't you see?
That's what I'm...
I mean, I think that a lot. I mean, I'm on Twitter, and people tweet and saying stupid stuff all the time. And then what happens is you end up saying stupid stuff back. And then an hour has passed, and there you just spent an hour being stupid. It's true.
The conversation about guns is obviously divisive in America. It's very divisive in this country as well. Do you think that we're asking the right questions in that debate?
About guns?
Yeah. Because it's about gun control. You hear about that, but are we asking the right questions?
I don't think we're asking all of the right questions, but I do think that, and the moment it happened, I knew this, because as a reporter in my youth, speaking of drunk drivers, I saw the progression of how many kids had to die. Kids on a school bus coming from a Christmas pageant, kids, you know, coming from a game, 36 kids on a bus, killed by a Mack truck, and a guy was, you know, had a bottle of gin underneath the seat. The instant I heard about Sandy Hook, I thought about those little babies as literally angels or spirits here to open the door for the conversation. I don't know what the resolution will be, but I believe that every one of those lives was sacrificed so that the conversation could finally begin. That's what I believe. I do. And so I don't think that those babies died in vain. I think that the purpose of their lives, just like we were saying to all of you earlier, if, you know, you were to pass away suddenly, and you hadn't figured out what your purpose was, everything that you've done up until this moment would be, and your passing, the effect that that passing has on everybody who remains, just as the effect of the passing of those 20 will have on the rest of their families. From now on, their families are changed and not the same because they came and are now gone. The same thing is true for our society. The impact of their lives, we will be feeling for years as the conversation unfolds. And however we choose to respond to it is up to each of us, but at least the conversation has begun, and that's what it took. Columbine wasn't enough. So now and the moment it happened, I said, okay, now we have to shoot the babies. And now that will get people to start to talk. So their lives were not in vain. That's the most important thing, I think.
Do you believe in the...
Thank you all for those who agree with it. It's not. Nothing's in vain.
You were talking about that moment before...
I love how you all say a boat.
A boot.
A boat.
We just pronounce it the way it's spelled. We think it's funny. That's the Canadian thing.
I heard that. Okay, thank you.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
Can I ask you this? Is there some like friendly Canadian rule? Is that what y'all are known for?
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of that. What happened last night, which you don't know, you would return from the venue back to the hotel and you'd walked in the room.
Yeah.
And as you were leaving the car and getting into the hotel, a couple of people said, "Oh, hey, Oprah," and you said hi back and were incredibly sweet to them. And I bumped into those people later on.
Yeah.
And they were like, she was so gracious and so lovely. What Oprah doesn't know is the people that she said hi to were the Tragically Hip, who were one of the biggest bands ever in this country. It was amazing.
No!
Yeah.
Oh, that was the Tragically Hip?
It was amazing. So it's partly because of us, but it's partly because it's you.
Okay. Why didn't somebody tell me that?
What a pleasure.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much. Oprah Winfrey.